Let's go to the report card, the MALLER report card on the Sam Darnold trade. And I'm going to be fair here. You know, people have accused me in the past of being unfair. I'm going to be very fair here. I'm going to give the Jets an F. I'm going to give the Jets an F on the Sam Darnold trade. The Panthers, I'll give them a C because I'm feeling good. I'll give them a C. Now, my observations here, you've got the Brady Bunch, broken ATM, and acumen. And we will lock all of these things together in an adequate MALLER monologue. Now, number one. The Panthers have been hell-bent on getting anyone but the guy they currently have, Teddy Bridgewater, at quarterback. They had to get somebody new. They flirted with the Lions to get Matthew Stafford. He went to the Rams instead. Tried to get Jimmy Garoppolo from the 49ers. That never materialized. And so they have settled for the consolation prize, if you will. Some would say the booby prize. I'll say it's the consolation prize. Sam Darnold is not exactly someone who excites your fan base. He's on a very similar level to Sam Darnold's brother from a different mother, Andy Dalton, with the Chicago Bears. At this point, Sam Darnold is a reclamation project, which is a nice way of saying you suck and people don't think you're any good. Carolina is taking a flyer on a guy who, if you're completely objective, was an abject failure as quarterback of the JETS suck. The change of scenery angle, which so many people bring up, and I've brought it up myself. Well, it's great to talk about in a monologue on a radio show or to post about on social media. Oh, all this guy needs is a change of scenery. Better coaching. He's going to take off. Okay, that only works at the most 20% of the time. There's an 80% fail rate on change of scenery. 80% fail rate. Now, is Sam Darnold even better than Teddy Bridgewater? Hell no. This is a downgrade, right? Carolina is gambling that Sam Darnold will pass Teddy Bridgewater like ships in the night, right? That Darnold will go up and Bridgewater, who's up here, will come down, and that's how it's going to work. They're also betting on the Brady Bunch, but not Tom Brady. Now, this has nothing to do with Tom Brady. It's all about the Panthers' offensive coordinator, Joe Brady. Who the hell is Joe Brady? Well, Joe Brady is the hotshot offensive mind that they believe has the Midas touch to unlock the talents of Sam Darnold. And Joe Brady was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and coached up a guy who did pretty well as quarterback of the Bengals before he got hurt last season. So there's some optimism about Joe Brady, and Brady has been hyped as a future NFL head coach. If Sam Darnold makes a little bit of noise, then that will only enhance the chances of this guy, Joe Brady, going to the lead dog position in 2022 as we head into 2021. Now, the Panthers have already decided to pick up the fifth-year option of Sam Darnold. That's a $23.6 million bill that they have to write to Sam Darnold. The check will be in Sam Darnold's inbox there. What do you make of that? That tells you that Carolina wants Sam Darnold to be completely loosey-goosey, and they want to show Sam they are smitten kittens, that they love Sam Darnold so much that if you judged him based on his performance, there's no way on God's green earth you would ever pick up the fifth-year option. He has been a failure. Why would you give a player who's a failure the fifth-year option? That's a bonus. That's for a job well done, not for a job done poorly, but yet Carolina's giving him the fifth-year option because it tells you they think he's a soft player and, emotionally spent, emotionally weak, can't handle the stress of having to play for a contract, and so they're giving him the extra year. Now, the second thing here, the Jets, they get an F for obvious reasons, right? I mean, let's be honest here. New York traded up in the 2017 draft. People forget about this, but in the 2017 draft, the Colts actually had the third pick in 2017. So in order to get Sam Darnold, the Jets had to trade up to get the third pick. They sent 3 second-round picks and a first-round swap to the Colts in exchange for the rights to draft Sam Darnold. Several of those picks have been turned into foundational players. Now, the Colts have one of the better offensive lines in the NFL as a direct result of the Sam Darnold trade from the Jets, right? Quentin Nelson, drafted in the 2017 draft out of Notre Dame. He's a 3-time All-Pro as an offensive guard. They also got Braden Smith out of Auburn, who is not as decorated as Quentin Nelson, but he's a 3-year starter at guard on the Colts offensive line. So they got both of their starting offensive guards because of the Sam Darnold trade. Indy rebuilt the offensive line, 40% of the offensive line in a direct line from Sam Darnold to Indianapolis. Now, what did the Jets get out of Darnold? They got mediocrity, right? And that's even being kind. 45 touchdowns, 39 interceptions. The telling stat is the yards per pass attempt. Sam Darnold, 6.6 yards per attempt. 7 is average. 7 is average. Sam Darnold, below average. And Darnold leaves Jersey, where the Jets actually play their games, with a 13-25 record and 38 miserable puke starts at quarterback. We can go on. His passer rating in his career below 80. The signature moment of Sam Darnold's career was a Monday night game against the Patriots. Remember what happened on the sidelines there? He was mic'd up. He saw ghosts. So the Jets end up getting back a 6th-round pick, which is completely worthless, a 2nd-round pick, which maybe turns out to be something halfway decent, and a 4th-round pick, which is a crapshoot, in exchange for Sam Darnold. And that, again, they traded a bunch of picks to get the guy who was the 3rd pick in the 2017 draft. And in the span of 4 years, that has just gone completely out of their hands. And now they're left just scrambling to try to do damage control. All right, final point here. So there is a train of thought, and I've heard this from some of the media elites that cover the NFL, that Sam Darnold, it's not his fault, right? It's not his fault. The jock sniffers amongst us in the media game are blaming it all on Adam Gase, right? It's all his fault. Crazy eyes Adam Gase, 100%. None of it is Sam Darnold's fault. All these trials and tribulations are not because of him being bad. It's because of poor coaching. This is bullcrap, okay? This is, you smell that? Bullcrap. It's selective reasoning. Sam Darnold failed to execute in that offense. Now, Adam Gase also is a bad coach. Both these things can be true at the same time. Sam Darnold as a failure and Adam Gase as a poor coach. Like, we can all agree on both those things. However, in a blind side-by-side comparison, the defense of Sam Darnold goes out the window when Joe Flacco, washed up Joe Flacco, jump ball Joe, was better in many ways with fewer mistakes and kept the Jets in games running the same system with the same players around him and the same coaches as Sam Darnold. So explain that to me, Einstein. Explain that to me. It's a huge indictment for Darnold. He consistently missed wide open plays over the middle. Listen, I didn't watch a lot of Jets games, but when I watched Sam Darnold play, he loved throwing the ball into triple coverage for some reason. Pretty sure that's not how the plays were drawn up. So it's not all bad coaching. It's very poor football acumen. It's a lack of awareness. The instincts are not there, right? They're just not there. And these are things that you cannot all of a sudden figure out in the NFL. If you don't have it, you don't have it. That's it. And you know, it's one of those things, you either have it or you don't. And now he slides in Sam Darnold to Charlotte, and Darnold will benefit from having no expectations at all. What is the ceiling for Sam Darnold? The ceiling is average. The most you're going to get out of Sam Darnold is average quarterback play. You already have that, or you had that with Teddy Bridgewater. More on his situation later. But Darnold is reunited with his ex-Jets teammate, Robbie Anderson. Reunited, and it feels so good, the former Jets receiver. DJ Moore is also there. He's the other top pass catcher. And, of course, they have Christian McCaffrey until he gets hurt again, which will happen maybe by week 1, possibly week 2. And McCaffrey will be hobbled yet again. So that's where I am on the Sam Darnold trade.